Hello everybody, my name is George Patterson. I was senior tutor at Van Mildert from 1988 till I was eventually appointed principal in the year 2000. Most of you lived in college for 2 or 3 years. I lived in it for 16 years. And in fact, one of the reasons I was appointed was that I was willing to take on that role of being on call in a very old-fashioned way in college. College was in those days very old-fashioned by today's standards. A lot of influence from the old Oxford model of student discipline and that sort of thing. For example, everybody had, if you wanted to stay out or go home at all at weekends, you had to apply for an exeat and permission to leave college. And the other thing was that though Mildert had appointed its first female principal, and in fact the first female principal in Durham of a mixed college, there was still a very great deal of imbalance. The atmosphere was very male, and one has to say there was still a large amount of the public school or private school atmosphere. One of the things that Judy Turner and I managed to achieve, I think, was to get a more balanced population. We increased the number of women and the number of people from state schools through the application system. And this was part of the senior tutor's job in particular, because I was doing admissions at the time. In fact, I was once chided by a senior member of the university for indulging in social engineering. But I think it was well worth it, because we got a much better college out of it when the balance of the sexes and the types of formal education were more balanced. Change of location now, because as you see, the dredger came into the River Wear and my neighbour also started mowing her lawn. Anyway, that balance in the college, I think, was one of the great contributors to the quality of what some people used to call the Mildert spirit. Actually, it was just a great deal of activity. I remember counting up and finding nearly 120 committee positions. There were always people willing to commit. And that's one of the things that I will remember from my time as senior tutor and as principal. The obvious ones, the 48-hour production, the panto, jam by the lake, duck. God, how many times did I get pied at duck? The young people's project, which got going while we were there. It's a lot bigger now, there are a lot more students, but for its time, Mildert was outstanding in the levels of activity and commitment and service that the students were willing to give. Now, of course, I think one of the things one has to remember is it's not just because of the students, it's not just because of our principal. There were hundreds of other people who were supporting and making this possible. This section of Mildert Day is about former principals, but I want to remember too all the others, the former senior tutors. When my time, when I was principal, Petra Points did a wonderful job. Ruth Tanner stood in when I was acting principal in Ian Taylor's time, and in when Judy Turner had her accident. For those who don't know, a horse bolted and jumped on top of her car, crushing her in her seat. It was horrendous. It sounds funny, but it wasn't funny at the time. The bursars, Ron Sawyer, John Hurst. Without John Hurst, the new buildings and the refurbishments would never have gone ahead. The office staff, Hilary Smith as college secretary, Eleanor, Gillian, Sharon, in the upstairs. The kitchen people, David Elliott, who sadly died only a couple of months ago. Chaplains, Ken Anderson and Kate, and all the other people who helped to make the place tick. In fact, when on Facebook people start on about Mildert memories, one of the things that they remember most is the servery and being told what to do and you can't have any more. And so it was part of the whole atmosphere of the place was created by those local people who were as much part of the college, in fact, family after family were members of the staff, the bedders and the dining room staff for a couple of generations. So I'll remember it with great affection. My contention is that the best job in the world is the one I have now, retirement. The next best one was probably being at Mildert for 16 years. It was great fun, and the students were at the core of all that with their enterprise, their activities and creativity as well. Good luck to all of you.